much for watching Miss Angelique TV, where we talk about everything. And when I mean everything, I mean like technically part 3. If you're new here, first of all, I want to say hey girl, hey boy, thank you for checking out my channel. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button down below, okay? That way you can be part of this family. Also hit that thumbs up button, that way your girl can get out here in these YouTube streets. And lastly, you want to turn on your post notifications, because sometimes I'll be posting twice in a week instead of once a week, so that could be randomly at times, so you might want to make sure those notifications are on. Okay, that being said, if you're kind of confused to what I meant by like part 3, so if this is your first time watching me, about 2 weeks ago I did a story time on me being pregnant by a older man at the age of 15. So go back to that story time before you listen to this one, because this is like in continuation of those last 2 story times. They're like an hour and 30 minutes long in total, so I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but just know you got a lot of stuff to catch up on. So if this is your first time watching this channel, go ahead, pause this video. I promise you this video is going to be right here for you whenever you finish those other 2 videos. I want to talk about one more thing before we get into the actual video. I am doing an updated Q&A. So after you watch this video, if you come up with some questions that you're curious about, or just in general and you want to know about it, go ahead and put it in the comment section, or you can DM me the question at my Instagram. You know, my social media is going to be below here somewhere. So yeah, I'm doing that. And then lastly, I am also doing story times with a twist. So that means if you have a crazy ass story that you want to tell, but you don't want the world to necessarily know who you are because it's gonna be anonymous, girl, go ahead and email me at storytimeswithatwist@gmail.com. That's storytimes with an S. You don't have to type out a big ass paragraph if you don't feel like it. If you want to do a little voice note, whatever, that's fine. But we're gonna be getting into that as well. I know I'm not the only one with crazy shit going on, so I'll be doing some of those type of videos in the near future. So I just wanted to say that. And one more thing, I have a close friends on Instagram. I post these videos like maybe 2-3 days in advance for y'all in the close friends before the world gets to see it. So if you want to be a part of the close friends after this video, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. Let me know, hey girl, I want to be a part of the close friends, and I'm gonna make sure you in there. Okay, so the last video I left off at telling y'all how my daughter's father, he just totally disappeared whenever my daughter was like 10 months. So I hadn't heard anything from him. I was also trying to get in school at the time. I ended up having to, well, at that time I was told that in order for me to go back to school and have my daughter in free daycare, I needed to be on some type of child support, or I had to have been receiving some type of child support. So because I wasn't at the time, I went ahead on and just filed. Like, I didn't know anything about child support other than the fact that it's for people who don't take care of their kids, and at that time he wasn't taking care of the kid. So I said, you know what, why not? He went ghost on me, so, and I'm trying to go back to school, so I did that, but didn't end up actually going back to school after I gave birth. So I didn't go back to school right away. So I pretty much filed for child support for no reason. But the child support case didn't go absolutely nowhere. I didn't hear from them. I didn't like anything. It didn't go anywhere. Why? Because the girl, and I find this out later, but Shotty, which is, that's who I named my baby's father, by the way. Shotty, he was in jail. And this all came about because I was just like, where the fuck he at? Like, I didn't have his number. Like, any of the numbers that I did have for him didn't work. I didn't have him on social media either, and I also didn't have any type of communication with his family. So I didn't know what to think. So one of these days I was just like, check the inmate search, bitch, and make sure this nigga ain't locked up. So girl, I checked that inmate search, and what did I see? His ass was locked up for real. So I'm like, well damn, like I didn't expect to see what I seen, but because I was just, you know, it wasn't nothing. Like, I wasn't thinking I was gonna actually see something, bitch. But girl, I did. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm looking at the charge, and why the fuck the charge is armed robbery with a deadly weapon? Your little tiny ass trying to rob people with a deadly weapon. Like, I mean, I could kind of understand the fact that he needed a deadly weapon because he was so small. I don't know. But that was just crazy to me. I'm just like, wow, this nigga out here robbing niggas and shit. So yeah, he was in jail, and time went on. I didn't hear from him. Nothing, like nothing, bitch. So I just lived my life, you know, as a single mother, growing up. That was that. Now, it wasn't until maybe like 2015, 2016, I happened to see him pop up in my Facebook suggestions on Facebook, bitch. And I was like, the fuck? Like, well, hold on, bitch. And I seen the, you know how you could go on somebody's page and you could see the last time that they made a post and stuff. So I didn't see his post, but I did see that he recently uploaded a picture. And I'm like, oh shit, this nigga must have got out of jail. So he posting pictures and shit. And you know how Facebook like also recommends people on your Instagram too if you have like your Facebook connected. So not only did I find his Facebook page, but I also find his Instagram. I can't remember if I added him or if he added me. I really can't remember that for the life of me. But whoever added who, we started talking. So, you know, we in the DMs and he, you know, hey, how y'all doing? And I'm like, oh, we good. And we exchanged numbers. Now, by this time, I was actually single. I had just got out of a relationship with my son's father. And I was single. I was living by myself. That was the very first time and last time I've lived just on my own. So I didn't have nothing else better to do but to entertain him. And so I'm just like, let me see if I can get my daughter daddy in her life. You know, it's been a while. She don't know who he is. So let me just see what's up. So we're talking and stuff. And somehow the conversation ended up going with, you know, him wanting to come over to the house. So he decided that he was gonna present the whole idea of him coming by and seeing me and also seeing our daughter. She was 4 at this time. And my son was like 1 and some change. So, you know, we texting, send him the address, and he come over. Now, I was kind of a little nervous. I'm like, fuck, I ain't seen this nigga since I was 16. Like, literally, I hadn't seen him since I was 16. At this point in my life, I'm like, you know, let's see how everything goes. So he comes over, and the first thing I noticed is he was saying how he had to park super far. And I was thinking to myself, like, I told you where to park, so why the fuck would you park way back there? So in my mind, I'm like, he must have got another busted ass car and don't want me to see the car. Cause like, nigga, you could have drove where I was. You don't have to walk as far as you walk. So I had to actually walk to meet him because he was so fucking far. So I had to walk to meet him. So I met him. We come back to my apartment, right? So we're just chilling, sitting on the couch. He sees Nevaeh for the first time since she was a baby, and it was kind of awkward because, like I said, she didn't really know who he is. Prior to him coming to the house, I was just like kind of telling her, like, you about to see your dad, like, this is your dad, you know, because she's had I don't want to say father figure, but somewhat father figure in her life, which was my son's dad, because we have been together for probably like 4 years. We were together, and he was real nice to her. Like, his family welcomed her as their grandchild, you know, so all she really knew was his side of the family. So now we done broke up, and now I gotta introduce her to her real daddy. That's so crazy. But I'm just like, yeah, you gonna see your daddy or whatever. So he comes, and it was kind of awkward because, like, it wasn't what I expected. And I say this because, you know, like, he greeted my daughter, but then he also greeted my son. And he picked my son up, and he holding my son, carrying him and shit, and talking to him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, like, you wrong kid. Wrong kid. Like, this ain't yours. Like, my daughter, that's ours. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of confused. So that threw me off. And I also at this point discovered that he had a son of his own as well, which his son was maybe like 2-3 years younger than my daughter. So it was just weird to me. It was weird, and he was like almost damn near to the point where he was fascinated with my son. I'm just like, why are you fascinated with a child that ain't even yours? Like, you should be excited to see your daughter after not seeing her since she was literally a baby. That moment, it was real brief. He didn't stay long at all. He left, and that was that. And honestly, like, I was like to myself, I felt almost disgusted in a way, because it's just like, I really did this for nothing. Like, he came over here, you know, not to say that I didn't want him to know where I live, because it didn't really fucking matter, but it's just the fact that I felt like that whole situation was pointless, because in my mind, I'm thinking he's gonna rekindle with his child, and, you know, just bond with her and spend time with her and just be happy to see her because he hadn't seen her. But it was the total opposite. Like, this nigga was into, you know, into trying to get to know my son. It was ass backwards. So he leaves, y'all, and we didn't really talk that often. He would text me every now and then, and honestly, after he left, we probably text maybe 2 or 3 times, honestly, and it was real short and sweet. And I'm gonna tell y'all why it was short and sweet. The motherfucker was trying to flirt with me, and it was really awkward and like gross to me. I don't know. Granted, you know, I laid down with him, so bitch, that's your baby daddy, you chose him. But I guess because at this point I was older, you know, maturing and stuff like this at this point, I just knew, like, he's not my type. That is not somebody that I should have laid down with, but I did. You know, it was just gross to me. And then not only that, it also kind of made me give him the side eye, because I'm just like, you trying to flirt with me and you're not even worrying about your child. You're not asking how she doing. You just worrying about what we got going on, and that threw me off, because I'm just like, nigga, you are wrong. And he also got to the point where he was like asking for like pictures and shit too, and I was like, okay, yeah, now nigga, you going too far. So I just stopped talking to him altogether. I stopped responding to him. I told myself, like, if he texts me and asks me something about his child, like, okay, I'm not gonna not answer. But if it's anything else other than that, then I'm not gonna be responding. And so after I backed off, bitch, he backed all the way off, and he didn't text a bitch. He disappeared again, and he went fucking ghost. He went ghost once again, and I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, like, that was so stupid. Like, honestly, he could have just stayed out of her life if that was the case. So yeah, so my daughter met her dad for the first time. Well, technically it wasn't her first time, but you know, the first time as she's been older, she met him, and now he's disappearing in her life again. So fast forward to 2017. Y'all know I was in a, if y'all don't know, I got a series if y'all want to know about it. So after I ended my relationship with my son's dad, I got in a brief relationship for 10 months with this abusive ass guy that I called Ghost in the story time. I have a whole series. I'll go ahead and put the playlist right here. It was an abusive relationship, worst relationship ever, but shortest relationship ever as well. So thank God for that. But yeah, I ended that relationship and I rekindled with my now husband. Backstory, I feel like I tell y'all this all the time, but I also have a lot of new subscribers, so y'all might not know. Because first of all, shout out to the new subscribers from that last video. Like, y'all really showed the fuck out, so I appreciate that. If you didn't know, my current husband, he was my first love. Whenever I say my first love, I mean I took his virginity and he took mine, bitch. Okay, it was a brief relationship because I was young, I got caught, and my mama told me I couldn't talk to him. So we disappeared from each other's lives, and up until 2017 we rekindled and we got together and had a baby, got married, had some more babies. So that's the quick version of that. I got with my husband, and maybe like 3-4 months later, I got a letter in the mail from the child support office requesting DNA for my daughter. So I said, DNA? Mind y'all, I had not heard anything from child support. I had not heard nothing. Like, I wasn't pushing it or anything like that. Like, it was honestly non-existent to me. It was a surprise that they were randomly hit me up in a mail asking me to take my daughter to swab her mouth to confirm whether or not she shot his child. And I'm just like, oh, this nigga don't think my daughter is for him? Oh, okay. So bitch, I hurried the fuck up and I went my black ass up to that child support office. Thank God it was literally around the corner from where I stayed at, because I said, oh no, he got me fucked up. You're not about to disappear twice and then want to deny? Oh, okay, so let me fix this. One of these mornings I brought my daughter up there right before school, and they swabbed her mouth and they also swabbed my mouth to, you know, confirm that I was a mama, of course. And they were just like, we'll let you know what happens. So after the DNA test, probably maybe like a month or so, a month and a half later, saying boom, he's the father. Like, I already knew, like, the fuck, I knew that. On top of that, in the letter, it also had like a court date to say I had to appear, him and I had to appear in court to determine custody and shit like that. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta deal with this damn court shit. I ain't never went to child support court in my life, bitch. As a matter of fact, I ain't never even been to court, okay? And not only, I was pregnant with my third child at this point, me and my husband's son. So I'm dealing with this, I'm pregnant, I go to court, I see Shotty and I'm just like, oh shit, like, I haven't seen this nigga in a couple of years, you know. So I was a little anxious or whatever, because it was, bitch, first of all, I'm downtown, I gotta pay for parking, and I'm going to court. Like, I'm going to court and I'm by myself. Like, I'm pregnant. It's crazy. Because my husband, he was at the house with kids, because my husband, he got 2 kids of his own too. So, you know, he at the house with all them kids and I'm at the court, you know. So pretty much what we did there, we did like a mediation type of thing. The lady was just saying like what we're gonna do as far as how often he would see her, being that we have now determined that he is the father. We're gonna give him like the standard Texas court order, which is like getting your child every other weekend type of thing. But I told them, I'm like, wait, pause, before I do that, like, she doesn't even know him for real. I would rather do like supervised visitations prior to her actually spending nights at this man's house, because she don't really know him. She don't know him at all. So the mediator, whoever you want to call the lady, she agreed, and so she put it to where like every weekend, every Saturday, we would meet up at a park for a certain amount of hours, and we would do this, or we were supposed to do this for a matter of like 12 weeks, give or take. Oh, and another thing, like we were talking about her name, because I did give my daughter his last name, but I also gave her my last name. But I did my last name and then his last name. Girl, why during the mediation, Shawty talking about something, well, can we change her name to be my last name first, then your last name? Sir, you just got here. Like, you literally just got here and you trying to call shots. But okay, I was like, okay, because to me it was kind of stupid and didn't make a difference, because regardless on her social security card, it was gonna be what it is, just like it is to this day. So I'm just like, okay, whatever, that's what you want to do, that's fine. So boom, we end up having the supervised visitation. So we go to a park for the very first time, and it's me, my husband, my did I bring my other son? I don't know, maybe my other son was at his dad's house, but I know for a fact it was me, my husband, my daughter, and then I noticed that Shawty had brought his little girlfriend and his son to the park too. So, you know, we was literally at the park just walking around watching them play ball and shit like that. I forgot to say, during the mediation thing, after the lady started telling Shawty how much he would be paying in child support, he was like, I'm not working, I don't know how I'm gonna pay that, this and that. So in Texas, if you're not working, they'll put you on like a minimum wage, so they'll just make your payments to be as if you make minimum wage until you get another job. He was complaining about that, and he was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay it, and he gonna ask me like, why can't you just take me off this stuff? And I looked at him and I told him, I'm like, look, it's out of my hands at this point. I didn't even know this was gonna come up years later. I filed the shit years ago. I didn't hear anything, but I think what happened was whenever he went to jail, things started to catch up with him, being that he was in jail, and somehow they found out, and that's when they served him with papers while he was in jail. That's what I think happened. But anyway, going back to what I was saying. So yeah, we did the whole meeting at the park thing literally 2 times only. That's it. Like I told y'all, this is supposed to be like a 12-week period, which means what, we would go up there 12 times, right? Girl, we did it 2 times. About that, like that 3rd week, he had an excuse. He was like, oh, I can't meet, da da da. And then it just got to the point where like he would kind of like go ghost for a few weeks, and then he'll pop up again. And at this point, whenever he popped up again, he was like, well, can I just keep her for the weekend? I think it was like spring break time at this point. I don't remember, but he was like, can I just keep her for the weekend? And at first I was kind of hesitant, because I'm like, nigga, you couldn't even do the bare minimum by just like seeing your daughter once a week at the fucking park for not even an hour, and now all of a sudden you want to like skip everything that we were supposed to do so that you can like. That's what I was thinking. But I talked to my daughter about it, and she wanted to go, and I'm just like, all right, you want to go, so I'm gonna just let her go and just hope and pray for the best. So she went, and she actually enjoyed herself. She really enjoyed herself, and I was excited about that. I was like, okay, finally she's starting to spend time with her dad or whatever. But he didn't follow the court order, you know, as in the every other weekend type of thing. He never followed the court order. He would just pop up whenever he had the chance, or you know, the time, whatever. He was very inconsistent from jump, and neither was I gonna be pressing the court order situation either. Like, whenever you want to come and get her, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna press it. That's between you and your relationship with your daughter. Like, they ain't got nothing to do with me. And also at this time, he wasn't paying child support either, which again, I still wasn't pressing about it, because I'm older at this point. Like, I promise you, if I would have had that baby at the age of 21, he would have never been on child support. Why? Because I would have just figured the fuck out like I do now. But because I did it at, you know, such a young age without like the knowledge, not to say like some people do need to be on child support, and honestly, he is the type of person that need to be on child support. Now, you know, like me talking today, because he, you know, we're gonna talk about that. But I have never been like a child support fan. Like, my son's dad, he isn't on child support. You know, we handle it, we work it out. Whenever he needs something, he get it, and same vice versa, you know. So but him, on the other hand, Shawty, he was so inconsistent. He didn't see his child, he didn't pay child support, he didn't do anything besides pop up when he felt like it. Time went on. At this point, she's maybe about 8 years old, and he's still doing the pop-up shit like we're gonna call him Popcorn Daddy, because the motherfucker pop whenever he felt like it. Just popcorn, pop, like, you know, he just popped up. So one of these particular weekends, he popped up and said, hey, I want to go kick up baby girl. And I'm like, okay, cool. She had a dentist appointment that day, so I'm like, okay, after the dentist appointment, I'll let you know when we're done and you can go pick her up. So dentist appointment happened. I texted him, told him it was done. I didn't hear from him. Now mind you, prior to this, I told my daughter that her daddy was picking her up, you know, because it wasn't, we never had a situation to where I told her that and he didn't come. However, this particular time was totally different. I texted him, he didn't text back, like nothing. He didn't say, oh my bad, something came up, you know what I'm saying? And at this point, my daughter, she's packed up, her things are ready, her clothes on, her bags are downstairs ready to go. And the motherfucker didn't show up. He didn't text me, like I said, he didn't call, nothing. So I was in the bathroom at this time, just scrolling on my phone, just waiting to hopefully hear from him. And my daughter, she had came in the room or in the bathroom. You know how kids do, they don't give a fuck what you doing, they coming in there. She comes to the bathroom and she asks me like, am I still going to my dad's house? And I said, baby, I don't know. I haven't heard from your dad yet. I'm just waiting. And it's like the moment I said that, I can tell like I broke her heart. And without me saying anything, like my daughter, she's kind of like me, she can cry in a heartbeat. Her eyes started filling up with water and she started crying, bitch. Oh my god, that broke my heart so much, bitch. I was crying with her, because not my daughter crying because her daddy ain't pick her up when he said he was gonna pick her up. You'll hear these type of scenarios happening in movies and stuff like that, but never would I have thought that would happen to my child. So I'm angry. After I wiped them tears, bitch, and now I'm mad. So I get the motherfucking phone and I text him, bitch. I text him. I wonder if I still got the text message. I probably do, but he's changed numbers, so I don't know if I'm gonna ever find that. But bitch, I text him a good little paragraph and I'm just like, nigga, how dare you, and in so many words, I'm just like, how dare you like tell me you're coming to get her and you don't come get her. Now she's crying and this and that. He didn't respond. Like the day went on, he didn't respond. It actually took him a couple of days to respond, and what he responded and said, it was so irrelevant, I don't remember. Because it wasn't helpful to the situation. It wasn't a legitimate reason that he gave me. It was some bullshit, so I really don't remember. But that was the first time he, in my opinion, broke her heart. And from that day on, I told myself, like, if he ever say he come and pick up this child, I ain't telling her until he damn near outside. You hear me? Because I don't never ever want to see my daughter hurt like that over no man, like daddy or not. Like, your first heartbreak should never be your father. Never. So fast forward to maybe like 2020, 2021, something like that. This is definitely after COVID, I believe. In between this time, he's still doing them popcorn visits. Just know that if I tell you he picked her up this time and then I jump to another story, just know that next story is at least a couple of months, if not a couple of years in between. Because that's how popcornish he was. He do the whole I want to pick up baby girl again. Text me, I'm like, okay, cool. My daughter, I'm still at this point, I always check with her, do you want to go to your daddy's house? After he broke her heart, I said she's gonna have a choice, yes or no, you want to go over there or not. Like, you're not obligated to go because he obviously don't feel like he obligated to be in your life. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm never gonna make her feel like she's obligated to deal with him. So she said she wanted to go over there, so I'm like, okay, cool. Now she's older now, she got a cell phone. I found my iPhone was in style, but I didn't have her like active location on at this point, up until this point, but we getting there. She go over there and her daddy is still living with his girlfriend or whatever. She over there with her little brother too. So she went over there on the Friday, and then on Saturday night, this is where it all starts. My daughter, she texted me and said my daddy and his girlfriend are fighting and he told me not to call you. He told you not to do what? Now, if I'm just gonna go brief because I actually made a whole story time on this video, FYI, so I'll post the video over here if you want to check it out afterwards. But yeah, she's gonna say that he told her not to call me or whatever. Long story short, I showed my daughter how to send me her location. I walked her through those motherfucking steps, bitch, and I pulled the fuck up. And not only did I pull up by myself, bitch, I had the blicky on me because, nigga, I don't know what type of shit you want. I don't know what you want with your girlfriend, but you ain't finna be on that shit with me. So I say, you know what? I'm gonna go over there with the blicky just in case. Bitch ain't never shot a gun in her motherfucking life, but I guarantee you that day if something would have popped off, that gun would have been shot, bitch. I don't know who it would have been aiming at, but it was gonna be aiming at somebody. I didn't tell him that I was coming or nothing. I just told my daughter to get her shit together and just knew I was coming. I was gonna be on the way. So he was shook, bitch, whenever he seen me, you know, pull up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here to get Nevaeh. I was in the area or whatever. I didn't tell him like that she specifically told me that, but I'm pretty sure in his mind he already knew that. Before she come home and she like tell me the actual story, which was he started choking his girlfriend and shit, and my daughter and her little brother was under the table because they were scared, and I didn't like that shit. And so after that, my daughter was like, yeah, I don't think I want to go back over there. And I'm just like, I don't blame you, sis. I don't blame you. So months and months went on. Like, he didn't call to text her like to apologize about the situation. He didn't hit me up to apologize about it. Like, it was as if nothing fucking happened, right? Months went on, and so all of a sudden my daughter's great grandma, which is the woman who raised her daddy, she called her and like talked to her. I think it was for like a holiday more than likely, and she told her grandma how she didn't feel comfortable going back over there by her daddy's house because of the situation that happened. And so the grandma was like, oh, I'm gonna get on him, I'm telling about this stuff, da da da. And so I guess she talked to the child because probably a couple weeks later, boom, all of a sudden her daddy wanted to come pick her up again. So I asked my daughter, I'm like, you want to go over there? And she was like, yeah, I'll go. And I'm like, you sure? Like, you feel comfortable? Because if you don't, like, don't feel like you're forced to. And she felt comfortable, I guess, you know, by her having a conversation with her grandma, kind of make her feel good. And that's crazy. Like, the grandma had a conversation about that situation, and her daddy didn't. And her daddy is the one who even put her in the situation. Like, what the fuck? But she decided she wanted to go back over there, and I let her. And once again, it's still popcorn time. You know, he coming in and out whenever he wants to. Now at this point, we moved to Magnolia, Texas. And Magnolia, old famous Magnolia, Texas, that is where the whole Roommate from Hell Storytime series came about. A bitch got another Storytime series about that. Look, I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of stories to tell y'all, okay? So if you haven't watched that Storytime series, I'll put it right here. At this point, now that we moved out there, one of these days her daddy wanted to come get her, and I gave him the address, and he was trying to make it seem like it was too far, which it was not. Maybe it was like 7 minutes further from the last place. And so I would kind of get frustrated because I'm just like, why can't you ever just come and pick her up? You always want me to meet you with her. But because I was just being nice and I didn't want to be difficult at the time, I decided that I was just going to meet him. Now, one of these particular times, I had the whole stomach bug and everything, bitch. A bitch throwing up in the goddamn car and shit. My husband had to drive me. Like, I could have been at the house recovering and he could have came and got her, but because he never wanted to come and get her all the way, that's what I had to do. Fast forward, income tax, one of these years for income tax time come, I think it was like 2022 or something like that. He tells me that he about to file his taxes, and you know, at this point he's behind on child support. So if y'all didn't know, if you're behind on child support and you file taxes, that taxes ain't gonna go to your bank account. It's gonna go to your baby mama, baby daddy, whoever on child support, or whoever is receiving the child support. So this particular year, he was telling me, he was like, yeah, you know, I gotta get my car fixed, and I know that you gonna get the money, so is it okay if like you give me some of it and you keep the rest? I just really need to get my car fixed, type of shit. And the first thought, I was just like, why the fuck would he ask me that and he ain't did shit for his child? Like, that's crazy. But I didn't want to be a bitch about it. You know, everybody goes through stuff, so I'm like, okay, cool. I think I got maybe like $1,500 in child support from his tax return that year, and I gave him like $500 of it. So I still end up coming out with more money, you know, whatever. But I did that for him. I did him that favor, even though he was being a popcorn ass, inconsistent ass father. I still did him a favor. So another time comes, and Shawty, he wants to get baby girl again. This time I'm just like, look, I ain't coming, I ain't meeting you. You gonna have to come and get her. So I'm telling him, it's like, look, you gonna have to come and get her. I can't keep doing this. Like, at this point I'm pregnant again. You know your girl stay pregnant. Ever since I got married, bitch, I feel like I've been pregnant the majority of my marriage, or the majority of my relationship with my husband. I've been pregnant. But your girl was pregnant at this time, and I wasn't feeling it. Like, nigga, I'm not trying to get out my bed pregnant as fuck to meet you to see your kid when you could just come and pick her up, like, you know. But he always had excuses on my car not working and this and that, and he just had all these type of fucking excuses. So one of these particular times, he was like, can I call you? I just want to talk to you for a minute. And I'm just like, okay, cool. So he calls and he do the fake "hi baby girl" type of shit doing. I know you really don't give a fuck, because if you did, then you would have been calling her, because at this point, my child, again, she has the phone, so he could pick up the phone to call her to see how she doing if he really wanted to. So there really should be no reason why you're asking me how she's doing, because if you were the father that you should have been, you would have already knew how she was doing, right? Okay. He brings up the idea of me taking him off child support. Now, this is not his first time asking me this. As y'all know, I told y'all he asked me to do this shit at the child support office. So he's asking me, you know, and I'm just like, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that, you know, like, that's just, I'm not doing that. So he goes to just say how he has it harder than I do, and in his words exactly, y'all women, y'all get WIC and y'all get food stamps, and then not only that, you had a husband to take care of you and this and that. And I tell him, I'm just like, first of all, you don't know what I'm on. I feel like he was basically trying to make me feel sorry for him, because he's telling me, especially whenever he said, oh, you got help, you got a man to help you. So how is it my fault that I have a man in my life? How is it my fault that I have a partner? You don't know what we go through. You don't know what type of struggles we have. So him saying that was kind of like, I don't know, weird to me, because it's like, what does any of this have to do with you seeing your daughter? I'm not asking you to buy her anything. I'm not asking you to do anything that gotta come out your pocket. I'm only asking you for time, and you can't even do that. Instead, you give me excuses as to, oh, my car this, oh, my car that. Motherfucker, I'm pretty sure you have somebody in your goddamn family that you can call and say, hey, can you come pick me up so I can go get my child? Like, I'm pretty sure somebody is out there to do that. And he had a girlfriend with a car. And that was another thing I was confused about. Like, you got a whole girlfriend with a car. Why you can't use her shit? I don't know. Maybe you need a new girlfriend if you can't use her shit to get your child. I don't fucking know. So maybe a couple months later, someone called my son's phone, right? This is like in 2023. Someone called my son's phone. They were asking for a person specifically, and the name that they were asking for just so happened to be my daughter's brother, which is her daddy son that she got that I was telling you about. It just so happened to be his same name. So I guess my daughter was near him whenever she heard that, and he was like, I'm gonna just make a name for an example. I'm gonna say his son's name is Kevin. And so he's like, you want to talk to Kevin? And so my daughter like, Kevin, who is that calling you? And so because he had the same name, for whatever reason, my daughter assumed that it was her daddy calling. I know it don't make sense, but these are kids, right? Kids don't think deep like that. For whatever reason, my daughter thought it was her daddy calling my son to talk to his son. But that caused my daughter to text her dad, and she simply said, hey, why did you text my brother? That's it. That's all she said. Why did you text my brother? And he went off, bitch. He went off. He told her, who the fuck you talking to? Why you talking to me like that? I'm a grown-ass man. You don't question me. And so my daughter just stopped texting. Like, she just took a screenshot of the message. She didn't respond. She just sent me the message. And I'm just like, what? So I was confused at first. And so my daughter came down to kind of explain to me what the situation was and why she thought it was her daddy. And I was just like, no, baby. Like, I'm pretty sure that was like somebody random that just ironically had your brother's name, but there will be no reason for your dad to have your brother number. Like, that don't make sense. And she was like, oh, well, I thought it was him, and so that's why I texted him. Girl, the way he was so rude, it was just like disgusting to me. So I wasn't gonna text him because my husband told me not to, but bitch, I'm pregnant and I am ready to go off on a motherfucker today, okay? So I sat back and I didn't say nothing for a couple of days, but it was eating me up. It was eating me alive, actually. And I decided to text him. And I texted him. I told him the situation. I broke it down as to why she even thought that he was texting her in the first place. And I told him, I was just like, regardless of the fact, like, it was kind of fucked up for you to like go off on her like that for no reason. She wasn't being rude, she wasn't being disrespectful, but to him, he felt like she was being disrespectful by simply saying, hey, why did you text my brother? She ain't say it in caps. She didn't have a bunch of question marks at the end. Like, that's all she said. But the thing about it is, he does not know her. And because he don't know her, it's easy for him to go off the handle and assume she's being disrespectful because he don't know her personality. He don't really know her, which is his fault. That happened, and you know, he disappeared for a couple months and then all of a sudden want to get her again. That shit happened, and he got, the next time he got her, like, he didn't talk about it to her, and he didn't talk about it to me. It was as if the situation never happened, right? Summer of 2023 comes, and he randomly picks up the phone and tells me he want to get baby girl again. And so I do the whole same shebang. I asked her, Nevaeh, do you want to go over there, yes or no? And she this time told me no, she didn't want to go over there. She was like, no, I don't really feel like going over there, at least not this weekend. And I'm like, okay, cool. So just, you're gonna have to let your daddy know that though. And I said that because I felt like if I told him, oh yeah, no, she don't want to go over there, I felt like he was gonna feel like I was making this up, or I just preferred for her to just communicate that with her dad, like, no dad, I want to go over there this weekend, like, not this time. So he ends up texting her and asking her, like, are you still coming or whatever? And my daughter, she said, well, for how long? Like, when, how long did you want to get me, and when did you want to get me? And I guess her asking him that pissed him off. And he kind of went off again and was like, look, just make up your mind, I ain't got time to play games. It's either you coming or you're not. Dude, relax. This dude, I swear to God, he got anger issues. I swear to God, maybe he got little man syndrome. I don't know what the fuck he got, but this man is always angry, seems like. None of that was necessary. And so after she told him, she was like, no, I don't want to go. Maybe I can find them text messages. Hold on, just give me a second, because he's so inconsistent. Just a couple of scrolls up, I'm pretty sure by the time I look down, I'm gonna be in 2020 goddamn 2. After my daughter told him that she wasn't going, I guess he didn't believe it, so he decided to text me, and he was like, is Vaya going or not? I said, I'm still at work right now, couldn't answer, but no. And then he texts me and says, okay, then was going to take her to get school supplies and shoes, but I see she doesn't need anything. And you need to check your daughter, because I don't know who the hell she thinks she is. He originally, whenever he asked her if she was going, she told him no, but he never responded. So it's like he totally skipped her no, and then next week asks her again, are you still coming? And so at that point, she texts him and said, I said no. But, and I kind of understand how he could take that out of terms or whatever. But she was saying, she was only reiterating because she literally texted him last week and said no, and then you text her again asking her the same thing after she just told you no. So that's why she said, I told you no, or I said no. But he felt like she was being disrespectful. So I text him back, and I'm just like, because I looked at the messages too to make sure I wasn't tripping. And I also told her, I was like, maybe you could have said it a little different, but at the same time, I don't want to make her feel like she got to fix herself for anybody, period. You know what I'm saying? She said what she said. As long as my daughter ain't cussing nobody out or blatantly being disrespectful, you can express yourself how you want. That's how I feel. So I told him, I was like, I seen the messages. She wasn't being rude. She was only repeating what she previously told you a few days ago. She needs school stuff every year, but I don't think it's necessary for her to have to spend the weekend with you just to get school supplies when she doesn't feel comfortable with going over there for her own reasons. And he never responded. I'm just like, okay, nigga, so you really think you finna threaten me with school supplies? Like, I don't make sure she got school supplies every year? Like, this is your first time trying to do anything for her for school. She been in school for fucking 7-8 years at this goddamn point, my nigga. You really think I'm gonna hurt over those school supplies? Trust me, me and my husband will make sure she got what she need, like we've been doing. I promise you. But yeah, I'm just like, nigga, how dare you talking about, oh, I guess she don't need school supplies just because she don't want to go over there. Nigga, you barely see her. You see her once to 2 times a fucking year. If she don't want to fucking go, then she don't want to go. I guess he didn't agree with me giving her that opportunity to say yes or no, but as inconsistent as you is, she better have an opportunity to say yes or no. I'm never gonna make my child feel like she's forced to go somewhere that she not really even welcome to, for real, for real. That happened. He didn't see her again nor talk to her again until Christmas time. If y'all see my last vlog, I told y'all he literally sees her during Christmas and during the summertime now. At this point, it's just like became a habit or like a routine. And she went over there, you know, everything was cool. But now moving into 2024, which we're in 2025 now, but moving into 2024, he finally started paying child support consistently for the very first time. Like previously he would pay child support for maybe a couple weeks, and like a month or so later the payments would completely stop. So I was assuming at this point like maybe he quitting his job the moment he see child support start taking out, because you know child support take a couple of weeks to kick in, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I was thinking. But now it seems like he got a job and he has been working there for almost about a year now, and he has been consistently paying child support through his paychecks, of course. This next situation I talked about in my vlog, but I'll briefly go over it. This past year, 2024, he's seen her once in the summertime and then once for Christmas that just passed. And so if y'all didn't know, my daughter, her birthday is like maybe 10 days after Christmas. And so he decided that after Christmas he wanted to get her, and so I'm like, oh, okay, cool, you know, he gonna spend time. I'm pretty sure he, in my mind, you know, he trying to make up for Christmas and your birthday, since your birthday is around the corner. So this is like New Year's Eve or the day after New Year's, something like that, that he decided that he wanted to pick her up. Before my daughter went over there, I told her, I gave her a conversation. I said, do not expect anything. Don't expect no lavish gifts. Like, don't expect nothing from your dad, because I just don't want you to have high hopes and be let down. So she go over there, right? And you know, she texts me while she's over there and she tells me what they're doing and stuff, keep me posted. So they end up going to the mall. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's exciting. Maybe he about to get you something for your birthday or get you something for Christmas, whatever, because you know Christmas just passed. He didn't get her anything for Christmas, and then her birthday is coming up, so I'm just like, okay, maybe he's gonna just get her something for her birthday. Cool. My daughter, she texts me and she's like, I don't even know why we came here, because we just walking in stores and we're not even buying nothing. And I'm just like, I don't know why. Maybe he just trying to get y'all out the house or something like that. I don't know. I can't really tell you, you know, why he not buying y'all nothing. I don't know his situation. So it wasn't until after my daughter got home, she broke down the realty and she told me, she was like, yeah, after we left the mall, my daddy took us to another shoe store that was outside of the mall, and my daddy bought my little brother some shoes. And I'm like, oh, okay, so what'd you get? What'd he get you? Nothing. So he bought your brother shoes and didn't buy you anything? Yeah. Excuse me? If smoke could come out my motherfucking brain at that point, I promise you, that made me so upset. I didn't let my daughter know that it made me upset, because after she told me that, I'm just like, don't worry about it, you know. If you want something from the mall, we go to the mall, because she was already telling me she wanted to go to the mall for her birthday, being that she went to the mall and didn't get nothing. So now she is craving the mall now, and actually wants to get something. So I'm like, don't worry about that, girl. And you're like, you know, we'll go to the mall, whatever, that's what you want to do. But behind the scenes, me talking to my husband, I'm just like cussing this nigga out in my mind, because I'm just like, I knew this would happen. I said this to myself. I feel like now that he's finally paying child support consistently, that he's really not gonna like do nothing like for real, because prior to, he never did anything for her. He would get her like little small gifts here and there, like a fucking hot chocolate mug or some candy, like nothing really like truly valuable, but it was something to her, you know, but to me rather, it wasn't valuable. So I'm just like, yeah, now I feel like he really not gonna do nothing. But I didn't know for sure. You know, I was gonna just sit back and wait till my daughter came home to see, you know, if she got anything, and that wasn't the case. So I was very, very much disappointed, because I'm just like, you're doing exactly what I knew you were gonna do, which is not do anything outside of child support. And to be quite honest, he's not obligated to do anything out of child support, right? But what I do feel like he's obligated to do is protect his child's feelings, and to not make his child feel the way that he make her feel. If you were gonna buy your son shoes, cool, do that, but do that at another time. Do that at another place, to where my daughter isn't blatantly seeing you do this shit, knowing that you ain't do shit for her. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel about it. So I felt like that was really like a bad move on his part. And then also we came to the conclusion that he be getting his son and not be getting my daughter. So in other words, he spends time with his son more than he does with my daughter. Every single time he gets my daughter, he gets his son. So I used to think that he would spend just as much time with his son that he would with my daughter. Come to find out, that's not the truth. He be picking up his son and spending time with him and all of that. outside of the times that he see my daughter as well, which is fine, but spend one-on-one time with her too. You don't do that. And then another thing I realized, like I told y'all before, he always want me to meet him halfway, and still to this day he wants me, like the last couple weeks ago whenever she was over there, what I had to do, meet him halfway. I got to the point where I don't even say anything about it. I just do it because in my head I'm just like, okay, it's only gonna be twice a year. Like I only gotta do this twice a year because he's not consistent like he should be. But he always go pick up his son. He go pick his son up the whole way from his son's house and drop him off. But he can't, for some reason he can't do that with my daughter. And it's not like they live on opposite sides of town. His son literally lives probably like 5 exits away from us, and it's crazy. Oh, and not to mention, for his son's birthday was like around the summertime. That's when the last time he seen my daughter. He picked her up during the summertime, and he picked her up, you know, to celebrate his son's birthday. He took them to the fucking go-kart place and everything for his son's birthday, but he didn't do any of that for my daughter. Like, he didn't do nothing. But then last week he had the audacity to ask me, could he carry Nevaeh on his taxes so that he can help pay his child support down. Nigga, what did you just ask me? Are you for real? Like, let me go to the messages. Let me show y'all. So whenever he initially told me, I wanted to say fuck no. I told him, I said, the only way I will feel comfortable with that is if we both sat down and filed your taxes. I've been doing my taxes for the last 12 years, so I'll be able to help you file your taxes for free. And I said the for free part because it was a couple of tax seasons ago. He was asking me, could I help him pay to file his taxes, being that it was coming to me. And I'm just like, nigga, you can just file your taxes for free. Go on TurboTax, Tax Free USA, H&R Block, bitch. I don't fucking know, but why the fuck would I pay for you to file your taxes just because the money coming to me? They ain't got nothing to do with me. But after I text him that, he didn't text me back for 2 days. So at this point, in between those 2 days, I already had it made up in my mind, like, nigga, I ain't doing it. It's a fuck no. Like, you ain't even respond back. So I thought that he was saying fuck no his damn self. But in between the time, I'm just like, I thought about it. I'm just like, nah, why would I allow him to carry her on his taxes just so that he could pay the child support that he got behind on? Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not fair to me. So he texted me back 2 days later and he was like, that's fine. I'm not comfortable sending my information over the phone. I'll call you tomorrow so we can discuss it. I did not respond to that message because I knew in my mind that I wasn't gonna do it. So I'm just like, I ain't gonna respond. But if he texts me back, I'm gonna just text him back and let him know. That following Tuesday, he texts me and he's like, call me when you get a moment. And so I texted him back and I said, if it's about the taxes situation, I thought about it more and decided to just stick with how things are. He was like, that's fine. Do you know how far in the arrears I am? So girl, first of all, like, nigga, how you not know how far behind you are? You can create an account just like I got an account. But I said, you know what, I ain't gonna be difficult. Let me just go ahead and send him the good old screenshot. And as you can see, I sent him that screenshot of saying balance of unpaid support $11,369.14. So he texts back and he's like, check my head, any other ideas on how I can knock that down without becoming a millionaire? Nigga, what? You asking me for tips on how to pay your child support down? You for real? Girl, I said pay extra when you're able to, and or just make sure to stay working so that you won't get behind any further than you are. That way they won't be bothering you, such as the child support office. But nigga, how dare you ask me for tips on how to catch up on the child support that you decided to be behind on? Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And I guess he called himself trying to get me to feel sorry for him or something. I don't know, but I don't feel sorry for you. The only person I feel sorry for is our child. I feel like as a mother, I have to overcompensate just simply because her dad isn't there. So I feel like I have to like overdo it at times because she don't have that other parent to, you know, be there for her. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up because she's my only daughter, you know, and I see all of my other children, they have their fathers in their life, even if I'm not with their dad. I just feel like I have to overcompensate because he's not there. And it's so unfair to her that she's able to see all of her other siblings just thrive and be with their other parent and spend time with their other parent and all of that. But she's gonna be okay. She's definitely gonna be okay. If I have anything to do with it, she's gonna be okay. For now, I mean, that's really the update. Honestly, that's it. If y'all was expecting a happy ending with the daddy being in her life and this and that ain't it. And honestly, I don't feel like it'll ever be that. So it is what it is. I feel like she's to the point in her life where she's kind of like used to it. She's used to the inconsistency from him. She's just used to him not being there. Me and my husband, we both talk to her and just like make sure she feel all right. She'd be like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm fine. But honestly, I feel like deep down inside, I feel like deep down inside it does fuck with her, or maybe it don't fuck with her right now, but I feel like later on down the line it could possibly mess with her. But I'm gonna just make sure I just keep that relationship open with her. Like, you can talk to me about anything, you know. I just want to make sure she's okay at the end of the day. So that's it. That's the story. The moral of the story is, just because you with an older nigga don't mean that older nigga gonna be the right one for you. And that's where I fucked up at. I felt like because I was 15 and he was older than me, that he had his shit together, and he didn't. He was the total opposite. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. Comment, let me know y'all thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and turn on those post notifications. That way you can be notified when the next time your girl posts a video. Okay, so that being said, I love y'all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see y'all in my next video.